Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson and Teri Angel here for a meditation a day. Today, we're doing a silent meditation, which means we're going to go behind the scenes and we're going to meditate together. We invite you to meditate right along with us. Teri's going to play some pretty music. And then in about 20 or 25 minutes, we'll come back on and share with you the messages that Spirit shared with us. Teri Angel, I'm so glad you're here today.
Me too, Ruth. Good morning, and good morning, everyone. I'll start the music now.
We'll see you soon. Teri, can I hear you?
So there, can you hear me? I hear you.
I can hear you.
No.
I love it when Spirit gives us these really heady thinking meditations. That one was a brain twister.
Was it ever?
Was. So, friends, to start, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the game called Transformation. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a spiritual board game, basically, and you go into it, excuse me, 3 or 4 people go into it with an intention for your time together. Everybody has their own intention. Maybe it's what are my next steps? What's my life purpose, whatever. And then you go through these steps around the board, and there's 4 different levels that you work your way through. Red is the physical level. You work your way through that. You get different awarenesses. You get different angels to support you, different life setbacks. So the physical first, and then the emotional, and you work through that, and then the mental, and lastly, the spiritual level. And Teri and I played this game yesterday with a friend, and when we went into meditation today, they took us right back into that space of playing that game yesterday. And then they kind of, excuse me, processed it with us. And one of the parts that was interesting was they showed us the vision of Stonehenge. And we were constantly being shown a clock and time ticking away. And it's the time that we're here in the 3D realm. And Stonehenge, and how somebody had spent their time creating something that would stand the test of time. I mean, clearly Stonehenge has been around for eons. And then the question, so what are you creating? What is your personal Stonehenge that you're creating, your soul's purpose, if you will, and will it stand the test of time? Or will it just become like dust and crumble and blow away when your life is done? Teri, anything you want to share about the Stonehenge part of this?
Yeah, so as we were talking about it, and nobody can say for sure what Stonehenge is, why it's there, what happened when somebody did put that amount of effort into creating something. But it is something that is revered by a lot of people. And there are some people that don't revere it. And Ruth had brought out the people that spray graffiti paint on it and, choose to just diss it like it's a nothing thing. So what we thought about are when we are creating our own Stonehenge, when we're making something that to us is important, to us has a lot of our heart and soul in it. Are there people that just think that it's nothing, that it's not worthy, that our time is not important, that there's somebody else that their time is more important? So there's a lot to look at with that. Be proud of what you're creating. Be proud of how you're living your life, and how are you feeling your life? What are you doing? What are you doing those moments with that you're creating your Stonehenge, your own beautiful being? And the other thing that came out was if you're not doing the things that you're led to do, living your purpose, then you're actually dying with that inside of you. And what if whoever created Stonehenge died with that inside of them? But if we didn't have a Stonehenge or Taj Mahal or any of the things that we look at and see as special and beautiful. So it's a message for all of us to figure out what am I doing with these moments that I have? And Ruth, I loved your statement that you made when we were talking that we all have finite moments as a human being. What are we doing? What are we doing here? And what do we focus on? And that's where the game comes into play. What part of those levels are we so focused on? Maybe we're missing some of the bigger picture, right? That's what came out for us.
Well, and the question came up, if you are so fully focused on your Stonehenge, on your soul's purpose, but then somebody else is demanding your time, what do you do? Do you spend your finite moments with them, with something that really may not matter? Or do you donate your time to your Stonehenge? And the word that I got was grace, that there needs to be a balance there of you working on your life's purpose and being there for other folks. That grace is truly important. And then they went on to the 4 levels: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And we had gotten a couple of Bible verses, which was interesting. It's not unusual, actually, for us to get Bible verses while we're doing this. But one of them was, in all things give thanks, and that's 1 Thessalonians 5:18. And that has to do with living in gratitude and in joy. And then the next one we got was, I can do all things through him who strengthens me, and that's Philippians 4:13. As we are born and go through life, we start out with the physical level. We learn how to walk, we learn how to talk, we learn how to do all of those things. And what we were being shown was that as we do any activity in life, for me right now, it's packing and moving. It's the physical level, right? Then we go on to the emotional level, and we go on to the mental level, and lastly, the spiritual level. And the message today was, in every activity, incorporating all 4 levels. And then the message went on to, oh, wait a minute, start every activity at the spiritual level, and then see if these other things don't just fall into place so much faster. I mean, we can all get stuck on any of these levels with any activity, and then we're just kind of stuck, and it's a waste of time. Honestly, it's a waste of time. So what if we started each activity looking at the spiritual level of it? Teri, can you share about that?
Yeah, because I said, boy, did we have this backwards? You know, because even in playing the game, your goal is to get to that spiritual level so you can be reborn and look at all the things that happened during your lifetime and process the achievements or the setbacks or whatever happened. So in life, in real life, do we have it backwards? Do we start focusing on that physical level, which is what happens? You know, we have to do all those things, learn how to walk and talk and eat and everything. Or do we start it on the spiritual level, and then all those other things fall into place and happen more with ease and grace? And to me, that makes sense. And, you know, we were sharing about some of the individuals that both Ruth and I know that started out, it seemed like, very spiritual. And there's kids today being born that remember who they are, and they remember other lifetimes, and they're able to share about that. So it seems like we have come full circle, and now the kids, the children, which are our future, are teaching us that, hey, that spiritual part, that's important. It's not something you work toward to eventually realize that you're a spirit being. You start out realizing it and remembering it, and never letting that be in the background or be as a goal out there to reach. It's already there. And I think that was such a huge message and a big aha moment in our meditation today when Ruth and I were talking together. So Ruth, that's how I feel. I feel like that was very eye-opening and enlightening to come to that realization.
No, excuse me. The clearing of the throat chakra, Terry. A piece of that too, at the end, they showed us yet another clock showing us our finite moments here on the planet. And the message that we got was if you start on the spiritual level and then incorporate the physical and the emotional and the mental level, that we can get more things done because it would take less time on these levels, because this is the one that actually drives everything. So we could get more of building our Stonehenge done in our lifetimes because we spent less time on these other levels that are not as important. So spiritual level first. It was just very turning everything upside down and backwards.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because when we go to that spirit part in anything we're doing, any activity, it just seems like that's when we have the breakthroughs. That's when things start to open up. And one example is the book that I'm getting ready to bring out into the world. And I was stuck. I got stuck on the cover of it. I got stuck on the inside part of it. And I was complaining because I was stuck on that level. And as soon as something snapped and said, stop complaining, stop looking at what's not working, you're stuck on the details and not looking at the bigger picture of why is this book even needing to be out there for others to look at and to benefit from. And as soon as I stopped complaining, everything fell into place. And that night I was able to submit it to be published. And it was that one moment, that one turnaround that said, just stop it. Stop the complaining, stop moaning and groaning about what's not working, and look at the bigger picture. And that's the spirit level. That's what, if we keep that bigger picture ahead of us at all times, in everything we do, we have the breakthroughs, we have the ahas, and everything starts working perfectly. As one of my dear friends likes to remind us at all times, everything is working perfectly in God's divine plan. So allow it.
Well, and that was a week of your life, Terry. It was literally a week of you trying to get this cover of your book done.
Just stop complaining. I know it sounds simple, but you know, the angels all the time are reminding us that we complicate everything. We try to analyze it and figure it out and make things fit in, you know, a square peg fit into a round hole, and just stop. Just allow what needs to be done to be done.
Go to the spiritual level first.
Yes.
Well, Terry, thank you. Thank you for walking through that experience with me. That was beautiful.
Yeah, this was one of the deepest meditations we have done. And it's interesting, Ruth, you had mentioned as we were talking that had we not played Transformation yesterday, we wouldn't have had all this insight that we opened up to today. So that's another thing. There's always a divine plan. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we want to put the cart before the horse and not wait for that horse to start walking before everything else falls into place. So divine timing, divine plan, just allow and keep having that grace in your life, because give grace, give thanks in everything you do. That's a big part of living and acknowledging the spirit being that you are, is by giving thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carrie. Friends, thank you for being here. And we know this is a lot to unpack. We're going to unpack it even further. So thanks for listening. So take good care. God bless. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.